Many, this represents an ideal day in Union Square Park.
The point of a public park is what you see here, all these vendors and the public.
Not so fast. The Parks Department is proposing new regulations to make some of the most crowded spots in the city less dense by limiting the number of vendors there.
Certain parts of parks have become very overcrowded, and people trying to walk through the park or to the park have to walk through a gauntlet of vendors who don't have permits and aren't required to have permits, but just set up pretty much willy-nilly wherever they like.
Expressive matter vendors, as they're called, sell everything from original artwork to photographs to knickknacks. Parks is proposing limiting their number in high-traffic spots that include the High Line, Union Square Park, and Battery Park. Jonathan Lederman is one of them and has harsh words for Mayor Bloomberg and Commissioner Benepe.
They pose as the greatest patrons of the arts, constantly talking about public art and public parks. In reality, their full-time job is to privatize all the parks, to put corporate art in the parks, and to eliminate artists' freedom of expression.
But the Parks Department says that's just not true. It's been examining the overcrowding issue for years. Benepe says even if the restrictions are imposed in some areas, there will still be 28,000 acres of parkland where the vendors can set up shop.
In fact, it was at the urging of Robert Lederman that we created these rules in the first place, because he said, why don't you use the sort of street vending regulations and just modify them to use in parks instead of coming up with some kind of a new permitting system. So that's what we did.
Over the phone, Lederman said, quote, "The notion they did this to satisfy me is truly a comical one. But vendors say there's nothing funny about the possibility of moving."
The effect is basically to ghettoize the artists, put them in the little boxes where no one will see them.
There's a public hearing scheduled for April 23rd. 30 days later, the rules go into effect, either as originally written or modified. In Manhattan, Rebecca Spitz, New York 1.